Snellen. Good afternoon. It is June 27th, and we are here at a special meeting before our work session begins to take care of some business. Do we have any changes to the agenda that we have in front of us with our 6 new business items?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Hearing no changes, we'll go into new business then, and first on our agenda is the discussion and consideration of the Lake County E911 Authority intergovernmental agreement. This will be led by Claire Skeen, our emergency management director.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So we've been working on getting the E911 authority up for the past year. I'm really pleased to say that both the city and St. Vincent's Hospital have signed on and agreed to form the authority. So in front of you in your packets, you have the IGA, and the bylaws for this topic. That IGA has had no major revisions since the last time it was in front of you. And it is, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I have the sheriff as well with me here today to talk about E911.
Okay. I don't have any questions for Claire at the moment.
I don't know.
Commissioners?
No, I think we really vetted that prior to sending it out, so I don't have anything.
Yeah, no, so if the changes were relatively minor, then I'm good.
Okay. I guess maybe there was like a couple, I think just maybe technical things from the hospital side. Anything to note on the conversation that happened there? Are there comments on the IGA? No? Okay.
Sorry.
No. Great. Okay. So we will consider the passing of that and then go into our next agenda item of the appointment, unless there's, Sheriff, do you have anything to add?
Just thank you for all their efforts.
All right. I will entertain a motion.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I was just gonna pull up, so I say it right. Give me 1 second. I move that we approve the Lake County E911 Authority intergovernmental agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion?
None for me, thank you.
None for me?
Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, great. And then second on our agenda, Claire's also gonna lead us through the conversation of the appointment for the Lake County E911 Authority Board. And do we have nominations from all the agencies?
So in your packets, you'll have the letters that I've received so far from the city, from my office, OEM, from the sheriff's office, and from Fire and Rescue. I do not have an official nomination letter yet from St. Vincent's Health. I don't know if you've received anything.
Yes,
You do have?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
So, sorry.
Nope, and there also is one from St. Vincent's as well.
Okay.
So there's nominations in each of those. I believe they are all for the heads of the respective departments. So myself, the sheriff, is it Director Grantham?
Yes.
From St. Vincent's, Director Grantham. And then the city nominated just the police chief title while they work through that transition, so it'll be Chief Chavez for now. And then there's also one from Fire and Rescue for Chief Daly. And then they're all of those do consider, with the exception of lead bills, alternates in those nominations, so she decided to go that route. But that'll be a 5-person board, and then within that board, we will nominate chair, vice chair, et cetera, from there.
Okay. Who is the hospital?
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, okay. Right, sorry. There's the list.
can you help us get the full list of 5 so we can list it properly in the resolution?
Yeah, so for the city of Leadville, it'll be the chief of police. For Lake County Sheriff's Office, it'll be Sheriff Speckman. For OEM, it'll be myself. And then for Leadville Fire and Rescue, it'll be Chief Daly. And then for St. Vincent's, it'll be Director Grantham.
Thank you, Tim.
Because it's through the annual resolution.
Yes, it's, yeah, I don't
Okay.
think you need a separate
Yeah.
resolution for the appointments, just do one.
Just to fill in the blanks in there.
So we're gonna amend our annual resolution or have those separate?
Or just a motion to appoint.
Motion to, I would say you can just make a motion to appoint to the board, I believe. That's
Yeah.
The annual resolution in terms of, for updating that board for, sorry off the top of my head, not knowing if that's in there
It is.
in terms of
The-
other
Oh,
appointees.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we just,
Okay,
but there's specific people listed in the annual resolution yet.
It was just
Yeah,
left
it was left blank, so yeah, that's, you're just making the appointments now.
alright,
I can take a crack at that. So I move that we make the appointment, make the 5 appointments to the Lake County E911 Authority Board. Those 5 appointments are Chief Daly for Leadville and Lake County Fire and Rescue, Sheriff Speckman for Lake County Sheriff's Office, Claire Skeen for the county OEM, Jeremiah Grantham for St. Vincent Hospital District. Is it St. Vincent Hospital District or EMS?
St. Vincent.
So St. Vincent Hospital District, okay. And then the 5th is the chief of police, whoever is in that position at the time, for City of Leadville Police Department.
Okay, I will second.
any further discussion?
None for me?
None for me?
I suppose, do we wanna hit some of these points on tasks for that board then through this year? Determining the remainder of the budget, what that is for this year through 2023. And as we've said, the county's not asking for payments of that, but will that board then figure out what that structure, like finalize that structure of cost allocations moving forward? Okay. Is there any plan for creating the 2024 budget along with our,
Well, I think they have to,
Process.
because we have to sign off on it.
right, but I mean, just that timeline, will somebody take the lead on figuring out what that timeline looks like? Okay,
We do have a treasurer position within the board, and it'll be a group effort as well.
Yeah,
okay.
so I think that
Just trying to
their
get
next
to all of
steps,
these that's in this, too.
oh, but I think their next step is to like come together as a board, fill their positions of chair, vice chair, treasurer, secretary, and then move through that work. But I would imagine that that would start with your first meeting. I don't know when you'll convene or who will take charge of convening that.
Yeah, so in the bylaws, it's like kind of like the budget timeline.
Mhm.
And it does need to follow the county's policies, but they do need to start
Is
with the
that,
24 budget and the long range plans.
okay.
And hiring, right, for the
Director.
director, communications director, which the job description is ready, correct?
It needs some changes.
Yeah, which will include biannual written updates and presentations to each jurisdiction on the budget, dispatch status, and then any other general updates. That was a request from St. Vincent, so we'll put it in the job description so the E911 board can hold that person accountable.
Okay, and do we wanna get that, I don't imagine that lending agreement's gonna be complicated since we have that set up with other partners, but just make sure we have that in place for that hire. let's see. Yeah. And how, I guess my other question and part of sort of relating to some of the conversation that happened at city council as well on accountability. I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir on why we kind of have come up with this structure. But I would be curious to have the board, report your nominations for your positions, but also any plan that is expected, either that we expect of the board in regular updates, and how to hold and support the board in the development of the communication center or department rather. But how, it'd be great to hear anything landed on for like city council and the hospital and the other agencies, and what those expectations are of reporting back.
Yeah. And I just think that the expectation, at least going into this, should be very explicit and clear that it's a working board, that this board is responsible for the development of those metrics going into the 2024 budget year. And so the participation from the members on the board is going to be critical, from all members, to make sure that those metrics are met, and then that communication back to us and each partner is as transparent as possible.
Right, any other discussion?
I don't think so.
Yeah, none for me.
Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Sorry, my computer just shut off and pull our agenda back up. Okay,
Ken?
go ahead, Tim.
I was just gonna thank Sheriff Speckman for doing this and giving up part of his office to better serve the community.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we are through our first two items. Thank you very much. All right, number 3, discussion and consideration of professional services agreement with Schreiber Marketing, and this will be led by Sheriff Speckman as well.
Yes, it's, Schreiber Marketing is, he's a local, Tallis, going to college, to progress down this type of path in business. He also leads a couple other websites in our community. So we appreciate the local talent and want to utilize that in this community. And he's very involved with our office staff in helping us develop our website. So this is for website development and maintenance, which would hand over a large majority of the work over to our office when we're ready for that transition. But he brings a lot of things that we could use in our office for scheduling purposes, for things like VIN verifications or concealed handgun permit appointments. We'll also be able to utilize them through potential payment processings through the different services that we provide. So the contract is to put a retainer on his services, and so he can be present for us as we need him through any sort of changes that we need to take place. It also offers some cool features about translation for languages, which I think is important for our community, for them to be able to easily access the information that we have to provide to them with the different languages.
Is there a not to exceed on the professional services agreement?
No, I don't recall seeing that. I don't think that was mentioned.
Did you say yes?
Yeah, I don't think it's a not to exceed. I think because of the scope of services, I think it's, but I thought there was an amount.
Basically, Candy does a good job.
Yes.
I just did not see it.
Mm-mm.
So I wasn't sure.
Is it not in the packet?
No, I did not see it.
No, because I forgot it.
It's
Hot
all
on the
good.
press.
It's okay.
You bet, Chris.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, because it was, it's on an hourly basis. And then part of it has to do with, as Sheriff Speckman mentioned, for web hosting, monthly maintenance and such. But there wasn't not to exceed. Do you have the PSA too?
Does this, complement, Civic Plus, or are you breaking off of Civic Plus, or how does
Breaking
that?
off.
Breaking off, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so there is no not to exceed on there. It's an hourly based
Okay,
proposal for
to just build a new,
meetings at $35 an hour, website development at $45 an hour, photography at $50 an hour. Ongoing monthly maintenance, which includes 5 hours of continuous work per month on web hosting and access to support, I guess, with the staff, what they would, the tasks that they would be doing. And then if it exceeds 5 hours, and that's at $450 a month. If it exceeds 5 hours during the month, then it would be billed at the hourly rates that were mentioned before.
Do you have any anticipated demand on the services beyond those 5 hours?
No,
And what you would budget within your,
not right now.
okay,
Hopefully that would be the goal, especially with his transition over to us to manage it in that part of the process. I think we put a lot of the work left back to us to adjust things as needed, and if it's more technical, then that's outside our realm. That's what that period is for.
okay.
So I don't believe so.
There likely wouldn't be more than that,
Correct.
you don't think, okay.
And so initially, the timeline we gave is the first couple of weeks would be to finish the revisions to the website. Then the third week would be to onboard the team and train them, how to use the stuff. Week 4 to review and launch the new website. And then week 5+ would be any additions and retention for the monthly maintenance.
I don't have any other questions.
I don't know them.
One thing I was gonna mention about the PSA, it did exchange emails with Schreiber Marketing, with Talus. And the one question, he's in the process of procuring the insurance for his services. And so I had told him I would recommend today that we approve it pending presentation of the insurance certificate covering with the county listed as an additional insured.
Sure, okay.
So that would be the only condition I would ask for at this time. Otherwise, unless there's an issue I didn't know in terms of budgeting issues and stuff, but the contract itself, I didn't see any other issues with it.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the professional services agreement with Schreiber Marketing pending all insurance and PSA agreements listed are met.
So moved?
Second?
All right, any further discussion?
No, none for me, thank you.
Not for me.
Okay, thanks. Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, and item four, we have discussion and consideration of continued consultant support for development of a new transit program in Lake County with Karen Pierce. And this is led by Tim Bergman or Commissioner Marcel and Chris. Okay.
I can start if you want me to, or Tim, whatever you want me to do.
Go ahead.
Sure. So Farron Piers is the consultant that we had utilized for our feasibility study, getting up to the point of applying for transportation funding. We've been awarded money from CDOT, are still working through the grant award with CDOT and the budgeting with CDOT. And so, part of that, our consultants helped us develop, and so the next phase of that is to finish the planning portion of the transit program. And that will be inclusive of, any capital that needs to happen at any of the stops, agreements with any property owners for the stops, working on any potential for a park and ride, that kind of thing, and actual timing of the route, on a day-to-day basis, and hours of operation. And then assistance with building the department, and staffing, that will then be handed over to Tim, and we assume Public Works, but that will be part of the planning process that Fair and Piers will help us with while we implement the transit program. So that is all part of the new scope of work, not to exceed $20,000. But if we don't reach that $20,000 amount, we're not promising them $20,000. We're paying them based on the work that they do or don't do for us under this agreement. So I think the next step is for us to vote on this, and then if we determine to move forward, bring them into the discussion with CDOT on some of the grant award hurdles that we're trying to overcome. So.
Sounds good.
Oh, and procurement of vehicles. So they will assist us with the RFP and the procurement.
In terms of the document itself, I'll just note that they sent over kind of amended contract to cover this new scope of services and such. But what they sent wasn't the one that had the terms and conditions, the changed terms and conditions from 2021 when they were first engaged. And so exchange, they're supposed to be sending over. They've agreed to.
It came through today. Sydney sent it.
The new one?
I think-
Well, it was a marked up version. So
Oh,
I
okay,
asked her to
okay.
go on and send the clean version with them signed off on it. So
Okay.
that's the only thing we're waiting for right now, is just to receive the clean version. But it's the same contract terms as y'all approved and they enter into in 2021. So it's just a
Okay.
different scope of work for this amended scope of work, if you will.
Okay. Bless you. Tim, do you have anything to add?
No, it would be nice to have some additional support.
Okay. Great. If no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we approve the new, continued engagement with Fair and Piers, not to exceed $20,000 for implementation of our local transit program.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion?
None for me, thank you.
None for me?
Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Great, thanks so much. Item 5, discussion of recommendation to proceed with GSG, Architecture's Comprehensive Plan. This is regarding Justice Center work and courthouse and campus feasibility study. Great.
3 months ago, put out an RFP to do a master plan or comprehensive plan of our current courthouse facility, which includes, engineering review, infrastructure review, electric review, IT review, anything on this campus that would need upgraded. And also explores those renovation costs, and then also like what it could look like to expand this facility. We received 2 bids for it. GSG was $200,000 lower than the other bid. And what they've done, they came with lots of good recommendations. Commissioner Fiedler and I met with our project manager, DPM, to discuss them. We met with both the firms, and the proposal for the board to consider is moving forward with GSG to complete the master plan for this facility that should be done in September or October.
Their planning is scheduled to be done at that time. GSG's.
Yes, so which will tie into are the architects and the general contractor for the proposed community justice center. We should have final construction documents this month from the architects, where then the general contractor can go out and go back out to the subcontractor market and start bidding things out. So we can actually have a more, or you guys can have a more definitive number to make a decision on. So you should have both data points to make a decision in the fall for moving forward.
Okay.
I just add, and we should also have information on phasing of the community justice center at the sort of Monroe and Harrison sites, so sort of the three pathways to consider at the same time, and maybe just some additional information. The scope of GSG, our hope is to keep costs and work down. Like, they shouldn't have to go do a whole bunch of like new space needs interviews. Like, we have that, like, sort of plan A Justice Center. So in a sense, their job is to sort of take the footprint of the possible new build and just see how you would fit any or all of that on the current site. So I think that will speed up work compared to sort of the initial planning. We don't have to go redo. We know what we want, or what different building occupants and stakeholders want. We don't need to revisit that in from a blank sheet of paper.
Okay.
And again, that'll help. We'll have a little bit of an apples to apples comparison of what we're getting in the different possible pathways.
Okay. That's gonna be very helpful.
Yeah.
Is there a total cost associated with GSG's planning work, or is it just like a not to exceed, or?
I believe the bid came in at 90.
Okay,
Um,
it's a little more reasonable than I actually even anticipated.
Yeah.
Okay,
um,
That's what I had in my recollection.
Yeah, it is less than 100,000, I can't.
And also, just I'll soft shoe while you try to find that, Tim. Like, I think one of the decisions when we went out with the RFP is that roughly half of that cost is the assessment of the deficiencies in mechanical, structural, IT, which we sort of felt like we needed to do anyway on this facility, no matter what you do with it.
yeah, totally.
So, it seemed like even if, whatever pathway we end up moving on, a good chunk of that 90K work will be useful for any future work on this building.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
Okay, no, I don't either.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I will make a motion that we proceed with GSG Architecture's comprehensive plan proposal, and instruct Tim, Jeff, and legal to work on finalizing a formal contract with them as the next step.
Okay, I'll second.
All right, any further discussion?
No, none for me, thank you.
Not for me. Thanks.
Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great, and on to our last item, discussion and consideration of the access agreement for National Union and Placer Lot 1, led by County Attorney.
Yes, thank you. This is something that's taken quite a bit more time than expected to get us to this point, but essentially this is for an access agreement over county property related to the National Union Placer. I may recall from last year that, and we have Dean Yocum, the attorney for the requesting parties, on one line with us here today, that they essentially own a landlocked parcel and they're requesting access across the county parcel in order to get to a point of ingress and egress from their parcel as well. And I thought, I'm sorry, it's not in the packet for you. I can send, if you want to see the exhibit A, that'll be the map
Sure.
of that. Can I send it to you? You
Yeah,
can get it in there. Bear with me one second while I get to that. Contracts. So it's just the exhibit A that you can bring up. And so one of the things that, once you'll see, once the exhibit that shows the mapping of this access, is that there's an existing utility easement that already runs through the county's parcel. And so the proposal from Mr. Yocum on behalf of the adjacent property owners is to essentially not directly parallel with it, but to go along that existing easement on a 30-foot access route for them, just kind of straightens it out. The utility easement, and it's just, yeah, the exhibit A that we need to look at. To kind of straighten it out, they already procured an access easement from another adjacent property owner. About that.
How are we gonna pull this up, Tim? Are you
Yeah,
gonna send it to the,
It's in the packet. If you want to open it.
Nathan Hammer has already given them an access,
Go back.
an easement to allow them to access the Valley Road extension. You can see that, there we go, yeah, so you can see how it goes. So lot 1 is the property owned by the Heiner, bear with me as I get the names right here, where that agreement is. Two names up in here. I had that with them already. Okay, so it's with Kathleen Heiner, Kurt Hensley, and Gretchen Warner own that, that first of the block parcels there. Yeah, own that, and as you can see, there's the existing 10-foot utility easement that goes, and what they're proposing is to pretty much just parallel that somewhat, but straighten it out so that it connects with the easement they already received from Mr. Hammer. It allows them to access the Valley Road extension. I did speak to Mr. Yocum about it. If you see this, it looks like there might be a closer, easier way to get there, but unfortunately the adjacent property owner, if they were to try to go to the south route where you see the corner of their lot, the lot that's a lot there, you see, and it has that, it's almost like right adjacent to that other one, that the property owner that goes over is not willing to cooperate to assist them with that. And one of the reasons that it's not directly paralleling the utility easement is that the language of that utility easement is granted allows some expansion of that access for the utility work to where it's not just the line. Like the language, and this is an old easement, reads such that the easement, utility easement, they have the right to access such other parts of the county's property as necessary for the purposes of that easement. So again, I think that Mr. Yocum, you can correct me if I'm mistaken, but the purpose of the straight line access aspect is to just, like again, straighten that out, not have the risk of infringing on that utility easement and directly connecting with the easement that Mr. Hammer has already granted them. We can't hear you, Mr. Yocum. I don't know if you need to turn up your sound or.
I'm sorry if you can't hear me.
we can hear you better now.
Now we can.
Well, yeah, so the idea is to try and stay away a little bit from that existing easement, but yet follow it so we're not encumbering too much of the county's property. So we just thought that was the best direct route from the actual easement that Mr. Hammer had granted us to cross his property and directly access lot 1. So I would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And so essentially the document that you're considering today is a non-exclusive revocable license agreement for access. And so it's not a formal easement in terms of you're not granting the requesting parties another formal easement across the county's property, but instead it recognizes the potential if the county were to want to use it for a different purpose in the future, that there's the opportunity that the county's property is not encumbered by this access agreement.
Okay. And just for clarity, the existing, is that for existing utilities or future utilities to the property?
The existing utility easement is, Mr. Yocum, I understand that utility easement goes to lot 1, but there's no actual utilities that have been developed on that easement yet, correct?
Actually, that utility easement actually runs all the way to lot 2. And it does contain an electrical overhead.
Oh, okay.
To lot 2, correct.
So is that an improved driveway access here rather than here? And I'm sorry if I didn't follow it, because this, just that topography, why didn't?
That adjacent property, it would make more sense, it looks like, to go down to that one instead, but the adjacent property owner wouldn't cooperate with that request.
We don't own this easement?
Isn't that our property?
Yeah.
That is.
In terms
On the
of,
parcel map, it looks like it does.
So there's 2 easements there for lot 2. One of them crosses Hammer's property, which is an exclusive easement that predecessors had granted to Mr. Zadra, who owns lot 2. Mr. Zadra will not allow my clients to use that easement, so we can't access your public easement that you granted to lot 2.
right,
So we have to come up with a different easement to get to your property. So Mr. Hammer was willing to grant another access to the very east of his or west of his property in order to at least get us to the county property. Well, we could either parallel and take a 90 and go over to your public access, or we can just go follow the existing utility easement. Mr. Zadra is very uncooperative. And so I think for public safety concerns, it would be best if we could just directly access it.
You need to kind of clarify what Mr. Yocum's inferring, that he met his clients with a shotgun, essentially saying that they weren't permitted to be on his property.
Yeah, we went out there to try and work out something where we could share the existing easements and, do some sort of a joint maintenance agreement or something like that. And Mr. Zadra, he brought out his gun and said, that's just not going to work. So that's why we had to go down this road.
So you're trying to avoid sharing the county easement
It's that one.
shared with Zadra at all?
Yeah, the
Right.
one
Yeah,
that
it crosses
he has an
his
exclusive,
property
so exclusive easement, and that's why
On
he's
his
not willing. One
This
from
is
the county.
exclusive.
No, that's county property.
That's
right
county, but then the other,
there. The one right
when you
above it.
go,
Yeah.
that's.
So why do you have to access here? Why can't you just access from here?
No, but it's farther down there, where it goes, if I'm understanding correctly, what I understood was the end of that is an exclusive easement
This?
down there that's not on the county's property.
One that crosses
So that
Hammer's
guy has
property.
granted permission.
Yeah, the one that crosses Hammer's property,
So this guy has an exclusive easement here and won't share.
we want to share it, that's why.
So we can't access county property without an additional easement across Hammer's property.
So, yeah, Hammer gave them one that pretty much parallels his property line down there at the bottom so that they can get to the Valley Road.
Okay.
Okay.
So they're gonna create an addition, they're gonna follow the utility easement then? to
Pretty
their
much, just
property.
straighten it out. It it bends a little bit, but just pretty much follows the existing easement there so that it's not, because also if they didn't in order to hook up with the county's easement that's there, they'd have to go there and then come across again and go down versus just coming straight through.
So is this already reviewed as far as like a driveway to this property through here by Public Works? I'm just wondering, with
It's
our
not-
interesting scenarios lately, if
Yeah.
that, I mean, I can't tell what that topography looks like, but it sure is a dip.
Currently, there is no improvements made on the easements we're asking.
What's that?
No improvements have been made along the easement or anything. So the access and to share, it's one of those things that right now, because it's a landlocked property, it's my understanding, unless something's changed, that the owners of this property wish to sell it. And so it's not really marketable without some sort of an access.
I guess sorry, Public Works has or has not looked at this as far as like a driveway or an easement for a driveway here.
In terms of, I mean, this is something that was last year that was brought to me as in, it had already been vetted. So my presumption was they had already looked at it, but there's no permit for a driveway, there's nothing pending. And so the access agreement is just for the access. They'd have to go through the same permitting process,
Right.
which means
I guess I'm
Public
just
Works would
figuring
have
if
to.
Public Works would prefer they have a different route for a better driveway access, then I don't,
I've
like, I
actually
figure that might come.
Well, I think then they'd have to go through this process with an additional.
Yeah, say if they applied, that would be part of the application process for it. And so trying not to encumber any more of the county's property than necessary, that's why the decision was made to parallel the existing utility easement
Okay.
for this. Because you can't do Public Works can't do anything different with that anyway, because that easement is there. So if you can see that utility easement,
Yeah, and the closer you are to this corner, the flatter, the better the access
yes.
is. Okay.
So that's why.
makes sense.
So that's what we've been working on.
Okay.
It's an interesting question though, like maybe like a question for CPD and Public Works to see if there's like a way to like figure out that chicken and the egg question of whether there should be like a consultation step
Now
recommended.
CBD already reviewed all this
Yeah.
and stuff, so then it came to me to just, the only charge I had was to develop the access
Yeah.
agreement for what they were proposing. So,
Yeah, no, and not trying to fix things for this, but just in
Right.
the future, it might be good to sort of have Public Works as a
I'm-
referral step before someone goes through a lot of legal work and negotiation on a specific route.
and I do believe that Public Works was consulted
Okay.
on this.
Just to clarify that,
Oh, sorry, we can't hear you again, Mr. Yocum, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I forgot my microphone, so.
That's better.
I did talk with Public Works at the beginning of this project, and she was supportive of it as long as, and then she said she would turn it over to legal to actually draft the language of the access easement. So she's fully aware of the route that we were going to take and thought it was a good route. And just said we need to go through the legal to get the access agreement written up and then present it before the commissioners. But she was on board.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright. I don't have any other questions.
I don't either.
Sounds good.
Okay. Chris, does there need to be anything additional in the motion?
No, but we have not received, I did send I think we have the final version, Mr. Yocum, and I know we exchanged emails this morning about the timeline for your clients to sign off on the access agreement. Because that's the only thing, right? We don't have the signed version from them yet.
Right. As soon as we're approved here today, they will round robin that and get it signed. They're in 3 different states. So they will get it signed, and I can expect that it would be on the commissioner's desk probably by the middle of next week.
Okay.
So if you'd like, you can approve it pending final legal review to ensure that we do collect those signatures if you want.
Sure.
And I will also, follow up, I know that it was reviewed by Public Works, but just to lay any concerns about that, I'll go back to them and make sure that they don't have any heartburn over the path.
Thanks.
With it.
Okay. I don't know what that is. Okay. Do you want me to take a stab at it?
Sure.
Okay. So I will make a motion that we approve the access agreement for the National Union and Placer Lot 1 to follow the existing utility easement, pending final legal review.
I'll second.
Alright, any further discussion?
I don't think so. Chris, anything else?
No, thank you very much.
For me?
Okay,
Okay.
hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Great, and that concludes our special meeting agenda for
Thank you very
today.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr. Yocum.
Okay.
And we will we'll end this, adjourn the special meeting and move into our work session once we have all our folks here.
Sure.
Thanks all.